Every single day, leaders have to make these really tough calls. But what happens when the most profitable choice just isn't the best one for the world around us? Well, we're going to dive into a super powerful framework that helps solve that exact problem.
This is the big question, isn't it? It feels like a constant balancing act. Do you go for this quarter's earnings, or do you invest in a sustainable future that might not pay off right away? For a long time, it felt like you had to pick one. But what if you don't?
To really see the bigger picture, we can look at an evolution of a classic business tool. It's one that's been totally redesigned for the kind of complex challenges we're all facing in the modern world.
Okay, so most of us have probably heard of cost-benefit analysis, or CBA, right? You weigh the costs against the money you could make. If the benefits are bigger than the costs, you do it. Super simple, super direct. It's been driving business decisions for decades.
But here's the problem. A traditional CBA might tell you that, yeah, dumping industrial waste is the cheapest option financially. What it completely ignores are the real costs. A polluted river, people's health declining, and just the damage to a community's whole quality of life. Those costs are absolutely real, even if they don't show up on a spreadsheet. And this is where the new approach comes in. On the left, you've got the old way of thinking, laser-focused on profit. But on the right, you have a multidimensional analysis. It's not saying profit doesn't matter, but it's balancing it against two other, absolutely critical pillars, people and the planet. It's about measuring the whole shebang.
And look, this isn't just some academic theory. It's a real, practical tool being used right now to make way smarter, more responsible decisions. Let's actually look at some examples.
The applications for this are just incredibly diverse. We're seeing this multi-dimensional approach pop up everywhere, from designing sustainable energy systems and handling our waste to planning huge infrastructure projects and even fine-tuning manufacturing processes. Okay, let's zoom in on one of those. We all know plastic waste is this massive, massive global problem. So what can we actually do about it? So check this out. This approach completely reframes the problem. Instead of seeing plastic as waste that you just bury, it's treated as a resource. You collect it, you process it, you turn it into valuable fuels, and boom, you've got a new revenue stream. But a multidimensional CBA shows you the full picture. Less stuff in landfills, a new source of energy, and a direct blow to pollution. It's a win-win-win. And this whole waste-to-value idea? It's not just for plastics. You can apply this logic all over the place, especially in manufacturing, where tweaking a process can have a huge impact. So take ethylene manufacturing. The old way uses a ton of steam, which is super energy intensive. But this analysis compares using steam to using CO2 as an alternative. And you can see it right on the chart. The CO2 method uses way less energy. This is where the analysis just shines. A company can see a path that's not just more profitable, but also comes with these massive energy savings and a much smaller environmental footprint. And its reach is just getting bigger. This way of thinking is absolutely essential for evaluating huge, complex technologies like carbon capture and storage, and for making the business case for these ultra-efficient, almost zero-carbon buildings. It really is about future-proofing our decisions.
Okay, so at this point, you're probably asking a really good question. How on earth do you put a price tag on some of this stuff?
Exactly. It seems impossible, right? How do you actually quantify the benefit of clean air or the value of protecting an entire community from coastal flooding? Well, this is where the model gets really, really clever. The key is to account for what economists call externalities. You can think of them as the ripple effects of a decision, all the hidden costs like pollution and the hidden benefits like better public health that don't show up on a company's balance sheet but are very, very real for the rest of society. This table breaks it down really nicely. For the environmental side, you can measure a carbon footprint and actually assign a value to it using something called the social cost of carbon. For the social dimension, you can analyze the impact on people, like say how a new policy actually helps local farmers. And for quality of life, you can even calculate the economic value of something huge like a new coastal flood defense.
So, when you put all of this together, it's so much more than just a better spreadsheet. It is a fundamental shift in how we approach making big decisions in the first place.
It always comes back to these three core pillars: profit, people, and the planet, not as things that are competing with each other, but as interconnected parts of one single holistic system. So, what's the big takeaway here? When we adopt this multidimensional view, our decisions just get smarter and way more sustainable. We start to uncover hidden value we would have totally missed otherwise, and we spot risks that were pretty much invisible before. And maybe most importantly, It aligns the goals of a business with the well-being of all of us.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. Think about your own community or your workplace or even a global challenge you really care about. What problem could you start to solve if you began to measure what truly matters? Thanks for joining me.